Every superpower in the world has one ultimate goal, not to depend on a single country or becoming enough self-sufficient. And in the ways of achieving this, controlling the essentials of life is the best thing to do. You know right now what the superpowers of the world are craving to control? All, well, it's all going better on the sidelines, but right now it's semiconductors or simply chips. Chips give life to every other tech we use today. Cars, phones, microwave ovens, dishwashers, you name it. Every electronic device has semiconductors in it. Chips are the lifeline of the modern economy. Well, what makes these chips so important is not just that they light up our homes or digital lives, but also their ability to become more and more efficient and advanced by time. And what makes these chips more efficient is the number of transistors on them. If there are more transistors on a semiconductor chips, then it can perform more tasks efficiently. It can be explained with Moore's law. According to the law, as time passes, advancements in tech will make transistors on semiconductor chips double roughly every 2 years. And this law worked like a magic for most of the time. Since 1965, when the law formulated till now, the trajectory of transistor growth is upwards. Need an example? Well, 2000 iPhone 3G has 30 million transistors on its chip, and 2021 iPhone 13 Pro has 15 billion transistors on its chip. You can see the huge difference. And this is also why our phones and other tech is becoming more sophisticated with time and can perform more complex tasks. And how does this transistor growth is important for the future of the modern economy? We have quantum computing, artificial intelligence, and these kinds of technologies are ahead of us. They need more computing power, so more transistors are needed. And with these technologies being considered as the productivity boosters for the global economy, countries are competing with each other to build more and more sophisticated chips before others. And this competition can be measured nanoscale. As transistors are growing, they are becoming smaller and smaller to fit in the similar size of chips. And right now, the manufacturing facilities of China and United States have reached the transistor size of 7 nanometers. Do you know who is ahead of them? Taiwan. Its manufacturing facilities or fabrication plants or simply fabs reach transistor size of 3 nanometers. Small island near China is the only one in the world with the most advanced tech and talent in semiconductor industry. This industry right now is facing two key problems. One is physical. As transistors are becoming smaller and smaller, soon they will reach a point where they will be exactly the size of an atom. And making them even smaller will require massive changes in manufacturing technology, apart from the extreme ultraviolet or EUV lithography which is used today. And this EUV technology is already very expensive, which is the second problem for the countries other than Taiwan. As one semiconductor factory or fab needs almost $10 to $20 billion to build, with economic life of just 5 years. Because the industry standard of nanometers change or becomes more advanced and old plant becomes obsolete. But these challenges are affecting different countries in different ways. But if we talk about United States and China, they are the ones who are predominantly active in these ways. As I said before, both countries are able to produce 7 nanometer chips. This kind of shows that they both are at the same page, but underlying reality is different. First, start with China in this matter. China is the largest importer of chips in the world. Some for itself, but mostly for US companies. A big example is iPhones. Maybe it feels weird to hear, but as you know that a big chunk of manufacturing of iPhone happen in China towards cheap labor. So for these iPhones, it imports advanced chips from Taiwan. Okay, the whole supply chain is like this. US company, let's say Apple, designs a chip. Then this goes to Taiwan. Why Taiwan? Because we said iPhones has 3 nanometer chips, and who can produce them? Taiwan Semiconductor Manufacturing Company or TSMC, which manufactures 90% of the world's advanced chips. This company then manufactures these designs, then those chips get exported to China for integration during manufacturing of iPhones. And then those iPhones are shipped in different parts of the world. You can see that these three countries are collaborating to do wonders. But with the US agenda of becoming less and less dependent on China, the whole landscape is shifting towards another direction. And USA is winning in this race. Well, we know that China gets chips from Taiwan, but the relations of China with this small island are also not ideal. Yes, for years China is trying to or threatening to invade Taiwan. And you know China's relations with US are also problematic. But in this whole equation, China is standing alone with its only one good semiconductor manufacturing company, SMIC, Semiconductor Manufacturing International Company. Well, China has been investing heavily in its semiconductor manufacturing industry with a lot of failures. But only one company, which is SMIC, is at the forefront. The reason can be US. Do you remember Huawei when the US started to ban this company from business dealings with US companies to control the progress of Huawei in different technologies? The same case is here in the semiconductor industry. US has banned export of certain technologies as softwares to China which are used in manufacturing of chips. And the funny thing is here is that recently Huawei made a phone with 7nm chip manufactured by SMIC. And yeah, it is at the same level of US chip manufacturing, which is also 7nm. Meanwhile, both companies are on the US blacklist. What means China got the wheels. But what about the US? Its export controls, are they enough to control the progress of China? Well, China's target for 70% chip manufacturing self-sufficiency by 2025 is not certain to be reached. So export controls played a good role in the control of China's progress. If we talk about the success of making a phone with 7nm chip inside it, it maybe happened because of the heavy recruiting of chip talent from abroad, like Taiwan. Talent is a major asset in this industry, which domestically China lacks. If I talk about United States, then I can say that US is certainly better at this game than China. But for how long it will be, it's a concern. The biggest manufacturer of chips in US is Intel. And you already know that Intel is a very old player in semiconductors, even older than TSMC, which has better chips than Intel. Yeah, Intel lost its legacy to TSMC due to poor decisions. Well, it's a different story. Right now, US is mainly focused on export control. As I said, that US exports certain technologies and softwares to China for chip manufacturing. It's now holding back. Since 2022, US is increasing its controls. Lam Research, Applied Materials, NVIDIA, and others are restricted to provide China with advanced tech. Well, NVIDIA got a loophole around it, but in 2023, US increased the regulation to stop NVIDIA exporting AI chips to China. But this all comes with a cost. Less revenues for these companies under the controls, which may push a strain on US regulators to reconsider this strategy. Not just this, US is also trying to put sanctions to non-US companies like TSML, a Dutch company which manufactures equipment for semiconductor production and export it to different parts of the world. And also, on instruction of US, TSMC significantly decreased the chip exports to China. But lost revenue for US companies in this whole game is a significant financial concern. It can be covered through the other side of the market, increasing the manufacturing inside the United States. So in 2022, Biden passed CHIPS and Science Act, which devoted $52 billion for building manufacturing fabs in the United States, and also showed 25% tax credit to encourage private investment. And companies are flocking in. Recently, Intel received $8.5 billion in grants and $11 billion in loans to expand its semiconductor manufacturing plants in Arizona. Micron Technology, another player in US, plans to invest $100 billion over 20 years to build a semiconductor manufacturing campus in New York. Samsung, a South Korean giant, is committed to a $17 billion investment in Texas to build a new semiconductor manufacturing facility. And yes, TSMC, the core, is also here. It announced a $65 billion investment in Arizona to build semiconductor plants that will produce advanced microchips with 4nm transistors by 2025 and 2nm transistors by 2028. TSMC is also getting in the US, and along with other manufacturers, there is significant chance that in future the United States will have a greater market share of advanced chips. Aspects are good for US with becoming self-sufficient in future, but what about the China? Will it reach 2-3nm or greater tech in future on its own? Well, it's hard for them to get more advanced unless it invades Taiwan. And yes, I think this is also a reason why TSMC is becoming close to the United States by building more fabs outside Taiwan to eliminate this kind of risk. This was very complex for me to build a story like this. And if you made it till the end, then don't forget to show some support. Bye.